Hi, everybody. Hello, dear friends. Welcome to my channel. My name is Dinara, and I'm a professional mindset coach as well as a relationship expert and a neuropsychologist. I am really excited to see you here and hopefully spend the next 10 to 15 minutes together and talk about relationships. In my work, I help people improve communication, build healthier relationships, and understand some psychological mechanisms that shape our everyday behavior, often without us noticing. Today, I want to talk about specifically how we sometimes damage our relationships unintentionally, not through dramatic conflicts, but through small everyday patterns that slowly weaken connection. This video lesson is about awareness and about what we can do differently. Core question for you all. Why are we kinder to strangers than to our loved ones? Why do we easily regulate ourselves at work, when we talk to our clients, when we talk to strangers on the street, with people we barely know, but allow ourselves to be irritated, sharp, and also practice emotional carelessness at home? And we often do that without bad intentions. We often do that on autopilot. And it's important for us to dive into some theory, let's say, to expand our understanding how the human brain works in close relationships and why we allow ourselves to sometimes mistreat those people that love us most and those people that we love most. Different standards of behavior. So we often behave in a very polite, filtered, attentive manner with strangers, right? And with loved ones, we can be super direct, rude, impatient, and emotionally unfiltered. In other words, we have double standards. Um, the key point here is not to judge ourselves for doing that. And I'm sure that this idea will resonate with most of you, that you recognize yourselves in these kinds of behaviors. But let's not judge ourselves. Let's observe. Let's bring awareness and make some changes. Like Spanish people say, poco a poco, step by step. Um, Love does not guarantee respectful behavior. This is an important reminder, an important clarification. Affection, attachment, and emotional closeness do not guarantee good communication. Communication is like a different thing, right, compared to love. In fact, closeness can sometimes reduce the level of skill we apply. Listen to that again. Closeness can sometimes reduce the level of skill we apply. That with people that we take for granted, we might act lazy, right? And more careless. And whenever we need to keep a certain facade with strangers or with our colleagues, we make more efforts. Many people assume that if love is present, respect will take care of itself. But it's not true because respect is not a feeling, it's a practice. Psychologically, there are three main reasons why closeness often lowers our communication standards instead of raising them. Reason number one, cognitive automation. Um, so when somebody becomes familiar to us for our nervous system, the brain labels them as predictable. I know how they will perceive us. I know how they will react. So when something feels predictable, the brain switches to automatic mode. That's why you often brush your teeth and you don't remember how you did it. You sometimes might turn off some electrical appliances and you might forget, did I do it or did I not? You do those things on autopilot because it's already familiar. It's already a part of your routine, right? A part of your everyday life. Automatic mode requires less attention, less curiosity, and less conscious choice. This is quite efficient for the brain, right? Because the brain wants to save energy, but dangerous for relationships. Because when we pay attention to something, it usually signals that we care about something, that it's important for us. It signals value. And when we're indifferent, when we don't pay attention, it usually means that we don't care, which is really dangerous for relationships. Reason number two why standards drop in close relationships is emotional cost efficiency, which is really similar to the first reason. We naturally invest effort where it is required, where it is sort of expected socially. With strangers, there are social consequences. At work, there are professional consequences. At home, effort often feels optional. The brain unconsciously saves energy where it believes that acceptance is guaranteed. But relationships thrive on intentional effort. Whenever you don't have intentions, whenever you don't make efforts, relationships slowly die, unfortunately. And reason number three, assumed acceptance. The belief that close people will tolerate your behavior, that they will accept you the way you are, that they will be there beside you, even if you are rude to them, even if you are disrespectful and forgetful. We often think, oh, this person knows me, or she or he will understand me anyway, or they won't take this personally. Over time, this assumption becomes permission permission to speak without reflection, to react without regulation, to act childish, to neglect small acts of care. Acceptance, however, should never be confused with emotional tolerance. I might accept my I don't know, relative for who he or she is, but if they behave in a disrespectful manner, I'm not going to tolerate it because I know what I'm worth, I know my standards, and I can set certain boundaries. So I can accept other people the way they are. But it's my responsibility to decide what I'm tolerating and what I'm not tolerating. And it's my responsibility to get this message through, right? Let's talk about consequences. What this sort of communication or what this sort of behavior, attitude leads to. These patterns rarely cause immediate dramatic conflict. Instead, they lead to invisible erosion. Connection weakens slowly, without dramatic moments, but over time, you will feel that, yeah, our relationship has gotten a little bit eroded. Does this word exist? Eroded. I'm thinking in Russian right now. Yeah, I think it does exist. Anyway, but since I'm not a native speaker, I'm sure you'll forgive me. Emotional distancing appears. People share less, react less, invest less. And the more distant you are, obviously, the less close you are, and it's really not positive for the evolution of a healthy relationship. And gradually, the willingness to invest in the relationship decreases, not consciously but behaviorally. This is how relationships decline quietly, without obvious reasons. And then eventually, as I said earlier, relationships might die. This is really sad, but it's our responsibility to do something about it. What to do? What can we do differently? First of all, raise the standard at home. The way things were working on autopilot without your awareness can stay in the past. Now you're more aware. Now you realize that you want to be a better communicator. You want to treat your family members with more respect. You want there to be a more positive vibe. You want to be as polite to them as you are to strangers. So use your highest communication skills where the relationship matters most. Second of all, slow down before you speak. Emotional honesty does not require emotional discharge. You can take a pause. You can sometimes say to the person that you used to get angry with a lot in unfair ways, you could say, I honestly need a few minutes of time of personal time so that I could regulate my nervous system and get some things, get some clarity, And yeah, slow down. Slow down instead of letting off steam at people that are closest to you. And thirdly, make efforts explicit. Notice it, name it, acknowledge it. People protect what they feel is valued. Make sure that the person you are communicating with, the person that you are in a close relationship with, knows that you are making efforts. You could give them more compliments. You could say, look, if you and I want to have more transparency and more kindness in our relationship, how should we behave? This kind of question makes your effort explicit and it invites the other person, the other party, to be in the same team with you. Closing reminder: do not delay gratitude. I want to end this short video lesson with this reminder. If you have not used words of gratitude towards your nearest and dearest recently, let this be a sign to do it as soon as possible. Do it today. Do something simple. If you have people around you who love you and accept you the way you are, do not take that for granted. Say to yourself that you're very lucky to have people that love you, to have people that care for you. Say something kind to them. Make a compliment. Name what you genuinely appreciate about them. Respect, expressed consistently, is what sustains relationships over time. Make sure to show that you love them, not only through actions but also through words, because that feels really good. It makes our hearts feel warm. And if you have people that love you, you are a really lucky person and you should do your best to nourish these connections. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in our next video lesson.